everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of 4.0 and Below, where the good, the fair, and the ugly comics roam. And, well, as usual, I'm about a decade behind on the new stuff, and so, anyway, I finally got around to reading Tom King's The Vision series, collected into two trade paperbacks, and you guys are right, it's really good. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But there was one moment in Volume 2, there was a panel that gave me pause and made me laugh. Let's see if we can get it, and I'll show it to you. Couple seconds. So professional. Okay, here it is. Let's see if we get... Okay, let's do this. Simon Williams in Omega the Unknown, the movie. And it's like, holy shitebirds, that's a deep cut. And that made me laugh really hard because there was, I'm sure a lot of you out there know, but for those who don't, there was a very short-lived miniseries, or not a miniseries, but a series from the 1970s about a planet of robots that were trying to reach the next evolutionary step of their existence, or allegedly, and that's going to take a little bit of explaining. So let's go ahead and jump back to Omega the Unknown #1. Now, this was a series by Steve Gerber and Mary Screenes, with art by Jim Mooney, and this is kind of the same team that was doing Howard the Duck at the time. And that proved popular enough that Gerber was able to convince Stan Lee to give him the go-ahead on this offbeat tale. And like a lot of stuff back then, it's very, very wordy, very lots of narration. And it basically splits the tale between the little kid there, James Michael Sterling, 12 years old. He's kind of a genius savant. But he kind of shares these weird dreams with Omega, the little superhero dude. And essentially these dreams concern robots that are out to kill him. And the story was a little existential. They all seem to end on cliffhangers. But to me, that's issue 1. Here's issue 2. Fighting Electro. The stuff concerning the kid was actually, I think, a lot more interesting than the stuff with the superhero. He was living in Hell's Kitchen with these two gals. One was a nurse, and the other was a smart mouth freelance photographer for the Daily Bugle. Ruth was the nurse, and oh god, was it Amber? Yeah, Amber. Amber was the photographer, and she sort of took James Michael under her wing and showed her how to be a New Yorker. And, there's prostitutes and bums, and he goes to school, and there's a horrible bully there, and things go terrible. I think one kid gets killed. And so anyway, there's this constant mystery going on because we don't really know why these guys are connected. Issue 3, taking on the Hulk. And at some point, James Michael kind of starts developing the same powers as Omega. But again, we really don't know what the connection is. And as the story goes, there's issue 4. This is around the same time that Gerber was starting his holy war with Marvel over the creator's rights on Howard the Duck. It took him to court. And so that sort of led, number 5, to the premature death of Omega the Unknown before the story was completed. And so, go to issue number 6. The Power of the Wrench. That's pretty literal. And number 7. Taking on Blockbuster. And I think a couple of these issues were kind of fill-ins where Gerber and Screenes didn't write it. And they sort of... Because Omega was sort of an enigma, he didn't really talk a whole lot, but in these couple issues he really starts spouting off. And so it kind of even add more confusion to what the heck's going on. Taking on the old Captain Marvel villain Nitro there. And let's see, number 9. Fighting Blockbuster again. And then finally, we end with issue 10, where things really go crazy, where James Michael goes back to his old home, and his parents died in the first issue, and it turned out his parents were also robots. And he goes back to his old house, and there's like duplicate parents there, and he's freaking out. And Omega, he heads to Las Vegas with an old friend to raise enough money to get James Michael out of New York. But then Ruby Tuesday shows up, and there's a fight, and the cops kill Omega, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And that's where the story ends because, again, with Gerber's lawsuit, Marvel basically says we're not going to pay you to sue us. And so Omega the Unknown was abruptly canceled before the story was finished, even though on the last page of this issue there was like a promise saying we're going to wrap this up in the Defenders at some point. Well, months passed, and no one, and Gerber quit Marvel, obviously, at the time, and no one was really wanting to step up and finish the story, even though there was a lot of fan outcry to get the story finished because they kind of wanted to know what happened, because it did end on a hell of a cliffhanger. And to me, it's like everything was really starting to get interesting when they pulled the plug, which is too bad. Which leads us finally to the Defender 76 and sort of an editorial mandated wrap this up and kill everybody off, which is essentially what they did. And the revelation at the end was the robots were from the robot planet from the original issue were basically Omega and the kid were the next, spoilers ahead, were the next level of these robots' evolution. And essentially they were sent because they realized that they were too powerful and they could possibly destroy the world. And so the robots were sent to basically eliminate them and get them off, kill them and get them off Earth. And James Michael basically hits the full power up, and he's going to destroy the Earth. But at the last minute, he realizes his friends aren't as dead as they thought. He has a change of heart, turns the power inward, he destroys himself and Omega, and it's all dead. And that was essentially the end of Omega the Unknown. Apparently, though, like I said, I was not aware of this until I sort of looked this up and did a little research. The character was resurrected by Jonathan Lethem in another miniseries that published, I think, in the 90s. And by all accounts, it's pretty good, so I think I'm going to have to check it out. And there was a great quote that he said he felt Omega the Unknown was a resource of thwarted possibility. And on that, I'll heartily agree, because I think Gerber and Screenies had something kind of interesting going there. But apparently, I guess there was not enough superhero action in it or something, and it wasn't going anywhere, which is too bad. And the ending, it works, I guess, but I don't think it was anything close to what Gerber had intended, which is too bad. And so, if I piqued your interest at all, I highly recommend the series, even though, it wasn't really finished, and it never will be. And someday, if I check out that other series, I'll let you know how it goes. I think it's in a trade paperback, so I can probably get it that way. So that'll do it for this very brief episode of 4.0 and below. I got another haul video coming up pretty quick. I got it shot, just needed to edit it all together. Probably do this one first, then the haul. And we'll talk about how we're doing so far on our goals in 2019. So until next time, this is WB Kelso for 4.0 and below, reminding you to never, ever be embarrassed about what you can afford comic book-wise. Until next time, we'll catch you later. See ya. Bye-bye.